Sherry, how are you? And I know you're excited about our guest today.
I'm doing great, Neil. Thank you. And I am excited with our guest. She's got quite the bio, very impressive at what she's accomplished, and she's going to share it with our viewers and listeners. And her name is Michelle Petties. Okay, so besides being a TEDx speaker, a food story coach, and author of award winning Amazon bestselling memoir, Leaving Large, the stories of a food addict, if that'll give you an idea of where we're going. She was also a top performer for the most influential brands in media, including Radio One and Disney ABC. But Michelle gained and lost over 700 pounds.
Wow.
You can't tell by looking at her, right? What an achievement, what an accomplishment. And, instead of just like sticking with it going forward, she now helps other people who have food struggles and weight issues. And so that's what we're going to talk about, right, Michelle?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm super excited to talk about this. It's like 700 pounds. That's like 2 to 3 people. I mean, 3 to 4 people, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
And
Wow.
and it and it was and so it was so here's the thing. I never weighed 700 pounds. And sometimes people think that when they read it, but it was gaining and losing 700 pounds over a course of 40 years. So from the time I was 20 until the time I was 60, I would lose 30, gain 40, lose 40, gain 50, lose 50, gain 60. And this yo-yo dieting. I am not by any means alone in that struggle.
No, absolutely. And it's something where you're just showing it, but you prove that you can lose it many times.
Yes, yes, yes. And so, you can lose it. The trick is keeping it off, right? And I want to go back. I just wanted to. We can just jump right into this. I want to go back to what you said, Sherry, about weight struggles and food struggles. Part of my issue and part of, I believe, the challenge for so many with that yo-yoing and going back
Yes.
is the belief that it is a weight struggle and a food struggle. It is not. That is the thing that I figured out. That's the secret. It's not about the food, it's not about the weight. It is about our thoughts, it is about our beliefs. And the reality is this, and for who's watching, whoever's listening, if you don't get anything else, get this piece right here. Before I ever gained an extra ounce or extra pound, before you gained an extra ounce or extra pound on your body, you gained it in your mind first. You gained it in your head first, in your thinking, in your thoughts, in your beliefs, in your emotions. And you have to lose it there. You have to lose it the same way you gain it. And when you lose it up here, then it just falls off your body. But everything in this conventional weight loss environment that we live in keeps us focused on how much can I eat and how much do I need to work out, not on where the weight gain actually happens. And when you make that shift, that's when you can reclaim your life, your mind, your power, your body. You can reclaim everything.
That's
Yes.
right.
That's a great motivation tool that you're talking about for sure. That
Absolutely.
you can do this. And how much of this do you see as mindset?
Oh, it is all. You know what? I gotta tell you something, Neil. It's even deeper than mindset. I hear that all the time. It's lifestyle, it's mindset, right? I grew up in the South. I grew up with grandparents, and my grandfather used to say, "You got to get your mind right," right? So I get that piece of it, but when I say it's deeper than mindset, I say it's belief system, which is it takes when you go to belief system, you take it to another level. And here's what I mean by that. Um, so many times when I'm coaching people or I'm working with people or I'm in a conversation where there's this dialogue around what we eat in this food environment, and someone will say something like, "Oh, I don't know why they brought those cookies in here or why they brought the whatever it is. They're trying to. I thought they were my friend and they're trying to sabotage me." Right? right? That language of tempting. So here's what I say to that is that if your belief system is entrenched, you cannot be sabotaged. And think about this. This is like one of my favorite examples. There are some countries, some religions where people do not eat beef. They don't eat beef. They don't. Cows are sacred. Cows are sacred. And I grew up in Texas, so we eating all kinds of beef and cows down there, right? But there's some countries and some religions where cows are sacred. People don't eat them because of how they hold them in esteem. So if you take someone whose belief system says cows are sacred, we don't eat them, we treat them in a certain way, you can take them to the finest steakhouse in Texas, the finest steakhouse in Montana. You can put a T-bone, you can put filet mignon, you can put sirloin, you can put whatever you want, right? The finest, most tender, the tenderest cut, and they are not going to be tempted. They're not going to want it. They're not going to eat it. They're not going to think anybody is trying to sabotage them because their belief system says, I don't eat that.
Yep.
That is sacred. And so when we get to the point where we believe that our bodies are sacred, right? When we hold our bodies and our lives in such esteem that when we're confronted with situations that threaten our lives and our esteem, including food, because this food that we call unhealthy is really poisonous. This food that we call unhealthy is really dangerous. And it is a threat to our life, it is a threat to our health. When we're confronted with that, because we hold ourselves in such esteem, we are not going to be tempted. Now, that didn't happen right away. It takes some work to get there, but that's ultimately what happens when your belief system is shifted.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that because, I'm helping my daughter lose weight and she's, got that mindset. I can tell like she doesn't have the mindset, and growing up, I was an athlete, I was a gymnast, and they weighed us like really regularly. We were not allowed to get over a certain weight because, you're in the air, you're flipping, it could get dangerous. And so I think my belief system got set then as a teenager, but now my daughter, here we are, fast forward, it's a struggle because I think you're right. She just hasn't have in her head.
Right. And I want to, Sherry, I want to talk to you about what might be in your daughter's head and where it comes from. Is it, we live in a toxic food environment that is driven by marketing. And that's where my career in advertising, my 40-year career in advertising and marketing comes in, and it's why it's so important and crucial to this work that I do now. How it informs it, which I didn't know it at the time. This whole time that I was in this career that I loved, I had no idea that it was stressful because I loved it so much, right? It never occurred to me that something I enjoyed could be stressful, and was the cause or at the root of my issues with my body and weight. But we live in this culture that is driven by marketing and advertising, especially when it comes to our food supply. And we are the marketers of fast food, junk food, processed food. They know more about our minds than we know about our minds. They use the neuroscience to program us to eat when we're not hungry. They use neuroscience to tell us that food can do stuff that it cannot do. When we get really clear, and this is what I write about, and this is what I coach about, I just want people to get to the point where it is automatic. The only problem that food solves is hunger. Its only purpose
Yeah.
is nutrition, nourishment, and energy. And when that is automatic, that is your automatic response. When you are confronted with this advertisers that tell you to eat for pleasure, that it's salvation, to eat for entertainment, eat because it will save you, because everybody will do it, or you can push back on that, because that is sending us down a rabbit hole.
No, 100%. I want to go into that because, more stuff that people discover about weight loss or a lifestyle change, the more you say, you don't have to have 3 meals a day. You don't have to 6 meal. It depends on who you are and how it works. And then once you get to a certain point, because fasting is supposed to be good for us. And we were never told growing up fasting was supposed to be good for us. Make sure you have that dinner. Make sure
Right,
you and it's
right.
not true.
Right, right. So I would, can we go back to what we were talking when we were growing up, and it is so interesting to me as I, as I travel around the country and I meet people, and these conversations about our food stories come up, and invariably this happens to me. Somebody will say to me, you know, I'm Jewish, and the way we express ourselves is with love. Food is love. Food is everything to us. It is part of our culture. It is how we express ourselves. Uh-huh. Then I'll meet somebody that's Italian, and they'll say, my grandmother, my mother, she makes a lasagna, and we all gather around the table, and what we do is eat. That's family for us. That's culture. That's how we express ourselves. Right. And I'm a black woman. I'm from the South, right? And we got a whole category of food. We got soul food. And I'm out and about and I'm talking to my sisters and I hear that. It's family, it's culture, it's Sunday dinner, it's all of that. So, I hate to burst your bubble, but you're not special in that respect. Every culture does it, right? It's essential to every culture. They've got this thing around this is and I get it. We do need food. We do need food to live, right? And there are so many of us that remember, especially especially if you weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth, right? You may have grandparents, you may have great grandparents that remember not having food, right? Remember, grew up in the Depression and they were hungry and there was some shame, right? Around not having food, and going to bed hungry meant waking up hungry. And you didn't, and so there's some emotion that's passed down. They want you to have food, they want you to eat because this says, I can take care of you. I can take care of my family. This is about survival. So we internalize these messages and we keep passing them down. Make sure you get plenty to eat, right? Make sure you get plenty to eat because that's how we express our love. That's how we express that we have plenty, that we have gotten past the bad times, the fact that our cupboards are full, right? And nobody wants to disrespect that. We work hard, we work hard to we work hard to earn money to pay for food, so nobody's throwing it away because that's disrespectful for the cook and disrespectful for our efforts. So all these emotions are wrapped around it. But we have to be clear and get to the point where we can unpack all of these complicated, intricate emotions that are emotions that are connected to having food and not having food and what it means not to have it, especially when you got plenty of food in the kitchen and you're working every day and you can afford it. There's no shame in going to bed hungry, right? You can, but right, you can. If you're tired, then go to sleep. If you're
Right.
tired, then go to sleep. You can come home and go to sleep. You don't have to eat and then go to bed.
Well, breaking bread is definitely bondy, but it is a matter, and you hit a little bit upon it earlier. If you're living to eat or eating to live, you know,
Yes.
and I think that's the point you were trying to drive home, is that we just eat to eat, watching television, we get something a snack and eat,
Right.
and
Exactly.
it,
It's
it,
social.
it and the memories stay with us. So when we
Yes.
look in the mirror the next day, there's
Yes.
the memories of what we
Yes.
did last night.
Yes. So you know what? I'll tell you this really quick story, about watching TV and eating. So I remember the very first movie I ever went to see as a kid was Mary Poppins. And I went with my aunt, and it was back then. You dressed up to go to the movies like you were going to church. It was a big deal. That's how old I am. That's how old I am. But we went to see Mary Poppins, and I remember we had dinner. I had dinner before we went to the movie theater. When we got to the movie theater, I saw the people in line getting the popcorn and whatnot, right? And so we go into the theater, and I tell my aunt, I want some popcorn. And my aunt says to me, "You're not getting popcorn. We just had dinner. You're not hungry." But I wanted popcorn. But you're not getting any. We're going to go in here and watch the movie. And I didn't get any popcorn, but I saw all the people in line getting the popcorn. Then on occasion, we had to go, I had an occasion to go to see a second movie. I don't even remember what the second movie was, but I'm with her. And before we go, my aunt pops some popcorn and puts it in her purse, right? We go back to we go to the movies, and we're going in. I see the people in line with the popcorn, and I say, I want some popcorn. And my aunt, because she's ready for me, she says, I popped some popcorn. I got it in my purse. And I say, I don't want that popcorn. I want that popcorn. I want the popcorn that the people that are standing in line for. Well, I didn't get that either. So I'll tell you the story because it is, and I talk about being an experiential eater and how the marketers get us is that it standing in line having popcorn at the movies is not about nutrition or nourishment. It is all about the experience. It is all about entertainment. It is all about theater. It is all about profit for the people that are bringing the movie to us, right? But for me and for so many of us, we have these things in our brain called mirror neurons, and that means we want to copy and do what the people in our environment are doing. It seems like it's the right thing. We want to fit in. Those people were standing in line. My emotion around that experience was this: these people are experiencing something that I want to experience. They're getting more joy. They're getting more entertainment. They're having an opportunity to do that, and I want to do that too. That's the emotional piece. That's where the emotion comes in. It's like it's jealousy. It's jealous eating. It's envy eating. Nobody ever talks about that when they talk about emotional eating. They talk about I eat when I'm bored. I eat when I'm lonely. I eat when I'm stressed. Well, how about I eat when I want to do what everybody else is doing? How about that? So, but my aunt, let's go back to my aunt. So my aunt thought I wanted popcorn. She's
Right.
like, I got her, right? I don't want my niece to be hungry, right? I don't want her to feel deprived, but I didn't want to eat because I was hungry. I wanted to eat because of the experience. So what she heard was, let me feed her, not the fact that I want the bucket. I want to stand in line. I want to
And all the
stand in line.
butter.
I want them to give me that big bucket of greasy
It's
stuff.
the experience.
It's the experience. And the marketers and the restaurant people and the food people, they all know that we are intrigued by the experience. We are enhanced by the not enhanced and captivated. We're captivated.
And we have to start to learn to listen to our bodies when we
Yes.
eat and how does it make us feel. And I guess it should start, I don't know what age, but ultimately sometimes when we overeat as kids, say, oh, you overate, not reason. Well, because your belly only has a certain amount of room. And if
Mm-hmm.
we're eating too much, it will expand at one point and you will gain more and more weight. If you don't
And
exercise, this is what you're going to look like.
so Neil, you know what happened? It happens even earlier than that, and I'll share with you. I'll share with you this, and I'll share it not from the vantage point of a parent, but someone who does not have children. But I have watched many parents with their children,
Right.
and so you have a an infant or a little child, right? And babies will let you know when they're full. Like they won't eat, they'll turn their head, they'll spit it up, they'll be all sorts of they'll do all sorts of things to reject it.
Yes.
But if you're a parent, right, and you got the formula or you got the little whatever it is, the thing that you're feeding them, right, and you want to be a good parent. You don't want people to think that you're starving your child. You want to make right. You want to
Yeah.
make sure that your child has plenty. You don't want your child coming to you saying, "Mama, I'm hungry. Daddy, I'm hungry because I feel like I haven't done my job." But so you got them, and they have a cup. They have a cup like that, and the baby's like, "No." And then you look at the little container, and it's got this much left in it.
Right.
And then the baby says, I don't want it. And then you say, oh, sweetie, come on, just eat the rest of it for mommy. Be a big girl, right?
Right.
Right. Go ahead and finish it. It's just this little bit. You're not really full. You'll be full when the container is empty, right? And if you got a people pleasing baby, and you're smiling at your baby, and you're making a little happy face and making a little airplanes, you teach your baby to override their natural instincts by not and their natural instincts by encouraging them and enticing them not to even listen to their bodies, because you don't want to throw away, or you don't want to save the 2 ounces that are still in the thing. And that's when the full the clean your plate thing comes in.
Yep.
Was
It
thinking
is a
that.
natural extension of that. But we don't realize how that extends. We don't realize how what we're teaching, because that right there, that's emotional eating. That's it. Go on, come on, finish it for mama. Come on, finish it for daddy. It's just a little bit. Okay, all right, yeah. And then they clap, and everybody gets happy, right? Because your baby just ate when it wasn't full. But that it's learned. It's learned.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, Sherry, I guess we're coming close to running out of time. What question do you want to kind of finish after this conversation? Because this is a good conversation, really, for have people think about weight loss and what is weight loss and things like that and that nature.
Yeah. And that it starts, at the in your mind. You did I just want to put out there how you developed a prescriptive writing process to make peace with your mind, body, and
Yes,
food.
yes,
And you also conduct a healing through reading, writing, and storytelling workshop, which I think is pretty interesting. And you have an online retreat called Free Mind Over Meals. So I
yes.
just want to put that out there, that that's what you're here to do, is to help people who are struggling and nothing seems to work. So kudos to you on that. You
Thank
know,
and thank you for bringing those particular tools, shining a light on them, because that is the heart of my work. People saw me when I first lost weight. People see me now, and they say, I mean, what's your secret? What did you do? Because for so many years I would lose the weight and gain it back. And I will tell you guys, the thing that I do now, the thing that I did back in 2020 when I first lost the weight. I'm the same size now as I was in 2019. As I was then, is I did the writing. And it's so not so much the fact that I did the writing, is that I used the writing to rewire my brain. The writing is healing. The writing is teaching, because I, like so many of us, lived in a world that taught me to mismanage food. And so, in order to learn and develop the new skills to manage it in a healthy way, to gain mastery, right? To gain mastery over my emotions, so I could manage food in a healthy way. I just, Near, you look like you're about to say something.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, that's the truth. It's just such a great story. Best place people can find you, Michelle, to learn
Yes,
more
yes,
about you.
yes, yes, yes. So you can go to leavinglarge.com, just leavinglarge.com. You can order my book. I'll sign it and send it to you. Get download a free chapter, to check it out. You can email me directly at michelle@michellepettis.com. I answer all emails. I will send you information about the Mind Over Meals retreat. It is a free 8 day, an hour a day for 8 days online resource, really, to help people to start unpacking disempowering thoughts, so that they can achieve some freedom around food. I do that because it is so important to me to raise the collective consciousness around why we eat what we eat.
Okay, great
awesome.
stuff. And
Awesome.
go to storehousemediagroup.com today. Schedule a call, Sherry, especially if you're interested in writing a book, starting a movie, marketing, anything. Go to
Publishing,
storehousemediagroup.com. Everything.
editing. Yeah.
Appreciate it, Eddie. Thank you, guys.
Thank
That
you
was
guys so
special
much.
simulcast. Neil.
Michelle.